This is Tank's vlog for December 2nd, 2018. Wrapping up today in sports. We're brought to you by Allow Me to Be Frank, the weekly podcast you can hear on SoundCloud, iTunes. Be sure to listen. We'll have many great episodes coming down the line for you. But listen carefully, listen to many episodes in the past, and give us some ideas of how we can improve and what you want to hear at Allow Me to Be Frank at Frank the Tank Pod, at NJTank99 on Twitter, and you could also email me at tank@sportsencyclopedia.com. Oh, baby, baby. Oops, Georgia blew it again. They choked a big time. They blew it again. Oh, baby, baby. Oops, Georgia blew it again. Had a 2-touchdown lead. Watched it get wiped away as her offense faded. Oops, they blew it again. When Bama comes in, they just always choke. Oh, yeah. Oops. Georgia blew it again. They choked a big time. They blew the big game. Yeah. Oops. What is it with Georgia football teams? How is it that every time they got the title in their hands, the title is in their hands, it's in their hands, and they fumble it, they blow it, they choke it, it's gone? Alabama came in as the juggernaut. They had won every game this year by 20 points or more. And Georgia just dominated them. Now, Alabama got lucky. There was a fumble by Tua Tagovailoa in the first half that should have been called. Instead, he called a touchdown. I guess the shadow of the football crossed the goal line. I don't know. But Georgia had a 2-touchdown lead twice in this game. And then their offense just went, faded away. And in a reversal of last year, when Tua Tagovailoa came in and rallied Alabama, Tua left with an injury, and Jalen Hurts, who struggled in the championship game, came on and led Alabama to the comeback win. Jalen Hurts played a good shoulder, didn't completely... he had to be unhappy that he got benched for Tagovailoa. Like, he was going to be a Heisman candidate, although I think Tagovailoa's Heisman Trophy slipped out of his fingers today. Kyler Murray had a good game. Haskins had a good game. I don't think he's such of a lock to win the Heisman as Sports Pope thinks he is. But what the hell, Georgia? I mean, it's choke. The official soft drink of Georgia and the Atlanta Falcons is choke, and it's appropriate. These games are played in Atlanta. Both of them, both the championship game and the SEC championship game tonight. They should have never lost these games. They had it in their hands. They blew it. They blew it. Georgia, you blew it. Georgia, you can't hold a lead. Just an old sad song has Georgia choking away. Georgia chokes away. And I say, Georgia, from the Falcons in the Super Bowl to the Bulldogs in the SEC, it's always the same. It's Georgia choking away. Georgia chokes away. I say, Georgia, why can't you win the big game? Just an old sweet song has Georgia choking it away. Number 2, Clemson had a much easier time playing Pitt. You know, some of these conference championship games, they might want to think about doing the Big 12 format, where the top 2 teams, regardless of record, well, Big 12 doesn't actually have divisions yet, but put the top 2 teams in the championship game. I mean, Pitt was pitiful. Pitt was 7-5. It's the Coastal Division was terrible this year in the ACC. So Pitt somehow snaked its way to the top, and they showed it didn't belong, as they were just run over and crushed and destroyed from stem to stern. I mean, Clemson took off the third quarter and still won 42-10. So Clemson's in, Alabama's in, Notre Dame is in, 3 teams undefeated. I know another team that finished undefeated, and that's Central Florida, who, without McKenzie Milton, found a way. Daniel Mack Jr. rallied them, scoring 35 points in the second half after trailing 38-21. Memphis, you should be ashamed of yourself. You talk about Georgia choking. Memphis just went into halftime and didn't come out. Pathetic. But you know, Central Florida, not a Power 5 team. They'll be in a New Year's Six bowl, but once again, undefeated, not good enough. And let's see if they go back to Captain Crunch and see if they get more rings out of the box of cereal this year, if they win the whatever bowl game they get in. And of course, the bowl games will be announced today. We'll find out all the bowl games, from the good bowls to the Bahamas Bowl and all the bowls in between, where we got some bowls. I mean, it's like this. It's like you got some bowl games are a bowl of delicious soup. Some bowl games are economical. They're good. Maybe not the best. It's a good one. It's enjoyable. Like, I mean, you get the finest soup in the world. That is the championship games. Then you have, like, the other bowl games who are pretty good. That's what I would call the Lipton Soup Bowls. Then you have the Cold Soup Bowls, which are, like, the ones that are, like, good matchup, but 2 teams that really aren't that good. And then you got the Toilet Bowls, which are your 6-6 versus 6-6 games, which, good God, why are we watching this game? So we got 40 bowl games coming up. 40, yes, 40 bowl games. Way too many bowl games. Oh, God. It is sickening. Now, as I mentioned, we got Alabama in, Clemson in, Notre Dame in. Who's going to be the 4th team? Oklahoma made their case, avenging their only loss of the year by beating Texas at Jerry's World 39-27. A team that struggled defensively most of the year had their finest defensive effort today, as the game was tied going into the 4th quarter, but Oklahoma scored 12 unanswered points. And Ohio State also made their case, destroying Northwestern 45-24. Much like Clemson against Pitt, Northwestern was not the second best team in the Big Ten. Of course, that was Michigan, who Ohio State beat last week, because the Eastern Division in the Big Ten is much more loaded than you have in the West, which is non bueno. I mean, the West Division in the Big Ten just imploded this year. Totally imploded. Now, another factor is Tagovailoa's struggles might open the door for Heisman. Kyler Murray had 379 yards passing, 3 touchdowns in Oklahoma's win, and Dwayne Haskins 499 yards and 5 touchdowns in Ohio State's win. Now, people put their vote in early, it's going to benefit Tagovailoa. People who waited to today might benefit Dwayne Haskins. Let's see. In the Mountain West Conference, Fresno State, for the first time in 34 years, won in Boise. An overtime win with defensive struggle in the snow, as Ronnie Rivers scored the game-winning touchdown. First time ever we had the Sun Belt putting up a championship game, so now all conferences have a championship game, and it was Appalachian State beating Louisiana 30-19. Meanwhile, the program that has risen from the ashes, the UAB Blazers, just their second year back after sitting out 2 years after shutting down the program, and the outrage that caused that and the outcry, beat Middle Tennessee 27-25. Why do I got a feeling we're going to be seeing this in a movie one day? I mean, 2014, UAB announces they're closing the program. People get outraged. They do all they can to raise the funds to bring the program back, and it takes 2 years to resurrect the program because of the scheduling and the shutdown and everything they had to go through. And they made the playoffs. They made a bowl game last year, and this year they've won the Conference USA, beating Middle Tennessee in the championship game 27-25. There were a few non-championship games played on Saturday. We had Iowa State beating Drake 27-24. A lot of these are makeup games from earlier games this year that were rained out, snowed out, or just making up games to fill their schedule. We had NC State beating up East Carolina 58-3. That was a game that was postponed from earlier in the year. South Carolina beat Akron 28-3. Virginia Tech beat Marshall 41-20 to get to their bowl eligibility. Liberty finished their first year in FBS with a 52-17 win over Norfolk State. They finished 6-6. Bowl eligible, but I don't think we're going to be seeing Liberty in a bowl game. And because of the fires in California, they postponed this game 2 weeks. The big game in Northern California was Stanford beating California 23-13. I believe that's now 9 straight wins in the series for the Cardinal. You know, last year, the Devils were so good. They were so exciting. This year, I don't know what the hell this team is doing. Their defense is terrible. They don't take the body. They give the puck away too many times. They're tentative. I mean, they score an early goal. They have the lead. And then they fall behind 3-1. They make a good comeback in overtime. And then in overtime, it's the same garbage, the same shit. I mean, Nico Hischier, what the hell are you doing out there? I mean, come on, you're giving the puck away, you have a 2-on-1 breakaway, and then you want to pass the puck every time you pass the puck. How about you take your speed and skill and ability that you showed last year, and you score? And then, of course, he gives the puck away with like 30 seconds left in overtime, and the damn Winnipeg Jets win 4-3. I'm getting sick of it. Devils, huge disappointment, 9-11-5. Their season's done. They're toast. You know, they're poorly coached. That's what I'm seeing. I'm poorly coached. People say John Hines is good. John Hines is good. I don't see it. Bring in Joe Quenneville now. Elsewhere, the Canadiens beat the Rangers 5-2. It was the Senators beating the Sharks 6-2. It was Erik Karlsson's return to Ottawa, and the Sharks, who have been playing underwhelming hockey as of late, lost again, falling to 12-10-5 on the season. It was the Stars 2-1 winners over the Canucks. The Red Wings doubled up the Blues in Boston 4-2. The Lightning took down the Panthers in overtime 5-4. In their first game back at the Nassau Coliseum, and now known as NYCB Live, it was the Islanders beating the Blue Jackets 3-2. The Flyers doubled up the Penguins 4-2. There's another team that's not played good hockey this year, Pittsburgh. It was the Maple Leafs beating the Wild 5-3. The Predators over the Blackhawks 5-2. It was the Coyotes beating the Blues 6-1. And the Oilers edged the Vegas Golden Knights 2-1. NBA action. It was... Oh, shoot, they put up yet tomorrow scores. Hold on. It was the Knicks rallying to beat the Milwaukee Bucks 136-134 in overtime. You can say goodbye to Zion Williamson. The Knicks don't know how to tank. We will be seeing the Knicks drafting number 10 once again when getting he's an okay player. He's an okay player. Meanwhile, the Nets are starting to get the hang of this tank. Lost again to the Wizards 102-88. It was the Pistons 111-102 over the Warriors, who played an underwhelming game, lost their second straight despite the return of Stephen Curry. Warriors so far 15-9 and struggling away from home at 4-7. Raptors reached 20 wins by beating the Cleveland Cadabers 106-95. It was the Rockets downing the Bulls 121-105. Celtics got a third straight win as Gordon Hayward came off the bench and scored 30 points in a 118-109 win over the Minnesota Timberwolves. And it was the Kings 111-110 over the Indiana Pacers. Today's three stars are Dwayne Haskins, who passed for 499 yards with 5 touchdowns. Kyler Murray, 379 yards with 3 touchdowns. Both should be at the Heisman Trophy announcement as finalists. And I think Haskins might have done enough to win today. Although I still favor Kyler Murray. So it's going to be interesting. I'm leaning to Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray would probably be my vote. And why is this thing going so blurry? I don't understand why this phone does this auto-focusing, and I can't get it to stop doing it. It's a great phone, takes great video. See right now, it's crystal clear. But all of a sudden it will start blurring. It's like, yeah. And Michael Boddicker, who had a goal and 3 assists as the Senators beat the Sharks, is our third star. Today's birthday shout-out goes to Yankee catcher Gary Sanchez, who turns 26 and is coming off a dreadfully disappointing season. I mean, if he has another bad year, all of a sudden his stock's going to go. It looks like he needs somebody on his ass, and they fired the one guy that was on his ass because he was on his ass, and it looks like Gary Sanchez needed Joe Girardi after all. And we take a look back to 1993 when the Houston Rockets opened the season 15-0, then a record, by beating the Knicks at the Garden 94-85. So check out the full story at Barstool Sports and its Sports Encyclopedia, where sports history lives. Don't forget, listen to Allow Me to Be Frank and Georgia, Georgia. They're always choking it away. From baseball on to a Super Bowl and the SEC, Georgia chokes it away. I say, Georgia, Georgia, always choking heartache. Just an old sweet song has Georgia chokes away.